Good day. This is Grandpa Jim from Grandpa Jim's Garden Tips. And today we're going to be talking about saving tomato seed. Now, why would you want to save tomato seed? You can always go and buy a pack and pay $2 or $3 or even $4, and in some cases they're even $5. And you don't want to continue to spend money. That's one reason we talk about saving your own seed. Another one is an example from this year. A lot of seed companies, because of all the things that have been going around with the COVID virus and all those different types of things, the seed companies literally ran out of seed. I've never seen that happen so much because everyone was wanting to garden. And perhaps you also, maybe you have a favorite tomato and you just not sure if maybe your grandma's growing it, and it's something that you want to save for future generations. Now, first of all, to save seed, you have to save them from an open pollinated plant, not a hybrid. If you do try to save seed from a hybrid, you have no idea what you're going to get because it's a combination of two and sometimes maybe several generations of different tomatoes they come up with to come up with a tomato that they want to sell. But a heirloom tomato, and which is also open pollinated, they also you can use those and you can make them and save seed from them. Now, there's a couple little tricks in saving seed. A lot of people will just cut it out, cut the tomato open, and then they'll just squeeze the seeds out and kind of spread them out and let them dry. Well, you can do it that way, and a lot of people have some success, but this is the best way of doing it. Because what we're going to be doing, we're actually going to ferment the seed. And the reason you do that is tomatoes are in the nightshade family. So are potatoes, eggplants, peppers. But the one thing with tomatoes is that they get disease sometimes. Sometimes you notice that during the season the leaves start to yellow. Maybe by the end of the season the plant is just completely covered with some kind of a virus or some kind of disease. Well, those can be carried by the seed. So what we do is, I'm going to show you here how we do it, and then we're going to go through different steps. I've got different tomatoes at different points of time in the process. So we're going to start here with the first one. Now, this is a tomato here called cream sausage. It's a yellow, kind of a paste type. It's kind of firm and it's very dense. So what we do is, first of all, we get a cup and we fill it with some tap water. And then I always make sure I write on the cup itself cream sausage so I don't get them mixed up, which is very easy to do. So then we take the tomato and we cut it. And if you look inside here, here are the seeds that are inside this tomato. What we do, we simply take this and we squeeze it, and we squeeze the seeds out. Now the pulp will come out with it. We squeeze all that out. Now, this being a paste tomato, they don't have a lot of seeds. They generally are mostly meat. Here again, I'll just kind of push this out and then we'll squeeze the rest of them out. So there we go. Now what we do then is we let this sit for up to a week or so. And what will happen, and I'll be showing you this, but this will ferment and this will destroy most, if not all, of the disease that comes into your tomato plant. So anyway, we're going to take a little trip outside here, and I'm going to show you one I have in the next process of this. So let's head on out. We're outside here, and I've got some, like I said, some different tomatoes that I'm saving seed from that are in different stages of the process. So I have here a variety called Black Cherry, one of my favorites. And what you have to do is that you remember we put the seed in and then we put the water. I've let this ferment for about a week. Now sometimes you'll get a really big amount of fungus that grows on top. Other times it just gets a little milky like this. But what I want to show you is, do you notice there's seeds floating? And then if you look under here, there's seeds on the bottom. The seeds on the bottom are your good tomato seed. These are probably not going to make a good plant. So what I usually do is I just try my best to just kind of pour easily the stuff that's on top. And we pour it out. If you're real easy, you can see the ones that are on top. They're coming out. And there we go. And now we have the ones that are here in the bottom. And then what you do, you can use a smaller strainer if you want, but I take a strainer and you just pour them down in there. Now look at what we got here. Here's your tomato seeds. That's just from one single tomato. And then what I like to do is I rinse it, just in case there's any old pulp and some of the nastier stuff that might be in there. And we just rinse them off. And then, when we're done with that, we simply take this. I take a paper plate. You can use a napkin. Again, I always mark what the variety is, because Grandpa Jim's memory is what it used to be. And we just set it down there, and we go like that. Then I try to kind of spread them out. And then we let that dry. And we'll put it in a place where it's a nice dry place. I'll probably put it in where my grow lights are. And you just let that dry. And you can let it dry for a week, 2 weeks. It won't affect the seed whatsoever. So now we're going to go back inside, and I'm going to show you the next step as we go through this to save our seed. Well, we're back inside now, and I went over to my gardening grow lights, and where I had these stored. And what I've done is this one here. Now, earlier I showed you using a paper plate, and then we also could use a napkin, and that's what I did here. So you remember we slapped it down the strainer, and then we had our seeds and they've dried. This is a variety I'm saving. It's a micro tomato, Vilma Micro. And what I do is, and when they're dried and ready to go, you can use a spoon, you can use your fingers if you want. And here's the tomato seed, all nice and dry. And I put it in these little envelopes, and you can get these on Amazon very inexpensively. Again, I mark it here, because Grandpa will not remember. Just like I said earlier, his memory sometimes fails him. So what we do, we simply scrape the seeds and put them in the little plastic container, little plastic bag. And we put those in there like this. And you can see here, now I think this was seed I saved from a couple tomatoes. The tomato seed that I bought for this were almost $5. And now I'm harvesting it for free. And we put it in the bag. We seal the bag. And then I will put it in a glass jar or container and store it where it's cool. And these seeds will probably last you 2, 3, 4 years. And so that's how we get to save our tomato seed. And again, we want to be self-sufficient, and you're not truly self-sufficient until you start saving your own seeds. Then you really are self-sufficient. Now, obviously, you probably can't save everything, but as many vegetables as I can, I save the seed. And a quick word here, before we close here, is that when we discuss, somebody will say, well, what about if bees pollinate from one plant to another? Wouldn't they cross? And the answer to that is yes, they will cross. And if I were going to be harvesting this seed to sell it, you would have to isolate that plant far away from the other plants. But for the most part, since I'm just saving it for me, and I always save some back just in case something does cross, but what I try to do is you really don't have to worry about it that much. You remember my video I used with the toothbrush? If you haven't, you can check that out. But I get in there and be proactive, and I have them pollinated. They're pretty much self-pollinating, I guess is what I'm saying. And here where we're at, I never see a bee on my tomatoes. So that way you don't have to worry. Remember again, you can't take a hybrid tomato, say like a Better Boy, a Celebrity. They will not come true to what you're wanting to grow. Only the heirlooms. So anyway, I encourage you to save your own seed, just like we did here. This is next year's seed and probably can be used for next couple years, 2, 3, 4. I've even heard of people saying they've saved seed for 20 years and it actually germinated. I don't think I'd wait that long. But anyway, this is Grandpa Jim, and just want to thank you for checking out this video, and I encourage you, save your tomato seed, and happy gardening to all of you.